Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel, The Crafty Quinn. My name is Megan, and today I have for you some decor and DIY ideas using Dollar Tree's fall and Thanksgiving themed napkins. They are absolutely gorgeous this year, and if you've walked past them before and thought, hey, these are beautiful, this video is for you, because now there is a way that you can use them, and I hope that this helps inspire you, as I was inspired by so many awesome crafting videos, such as Kristen K's crafting video about using Dollar Tree napkins. So this was definitely inspired by her. So this first napkin, I'm absolutely in love with it. I mean, it's just the colors are so bright and vibrant and they stand out. So I took one of Dollar Tree's wooden pumpkin signs, just a blank wood sign, painted it white, and then, as you saw, just used a glue stick, which was an idea from Kristen K, because I was going to use Mod Podge for this, but turns out, it just leads to way too many bubbles and, kind of bumps and things like that. So a glue stick actually worked great. I did just do some final touch-ups on this with my white Waverly chalk paint, which is the color of this sign. So I just kind of made things blend all together, but for the most part, you can't really see the line. I'm taking one of Dollar Tree's new fall wooden words, Blessed, and I'm using some Waverly Antique Wax Stain and using a makeup wipe to help distribute the wax. I love using this little trick. So I felt like this sign needed something at the top, so this wooden word was great, and then just putting a little raffia bow on top to finish it off. And here's how it turned out. I absolutely love this. DIY number 2. So this is another napkin. It's not exactly the same pattern as the first one, but it is very, very close to it. Might as well be the same. So these are smaller napkins, and also I just want to make sure to point out that when you are using these napkins, you take them apart and you think that's it, but then there is kind of a white paper backing that you'll need to remove behind this as well. So I'm taking a wooden, I guess it looks like a little cutting board, and this is one of Dollar Tree's as well. Also painted this white with Waverly chalk paint. And after just using my glue stick quickly, I'm just laying it down, trying to arrange it where I want the pumpkin pattern to start and end. Now this one, I really love the way the pumpkin stem looked on this craft. So I took my finger sander, and that was just a great way to kind of go up against the edge there and get an absolute just best edge that you can possibly get with this cutting board. And I did take a chippy brush and some more antique wax and made this a little bit more rustic. And what was great was that with this one, the line of the napkin did not stand out at all. So you can't even tell that this is a napkin. It looks like it's simply just printed on the cutting board. And then, as you just saw, I finished it off with a cute little raffia bow. So simple, yet so cute. DIY number 3. So this this stand was a little bit more complicated, but I'm actually using a piece of my banister from our stairs. We redid our stairs, so I made sure to save all of the spindles, and of course my kitten has to make his appearance. So I was just kind of testing it out, but this was I ended up using a stand from Dollar Tree for the bottom, but this is the spindle, and I cut it with the saw. And at the very top, as you'll see once I glue this pumpkin into it, I did have to use a saw to make a slit in the very top of the spindle, just so that this little pumpkin would fit inside. So this wooden little thin pumpkin that you see me placing this pattern onto is also from Dollar Tree. It is from one of their like garland packs. I think it comes with about 6 or 8 pumpkins, but so I'm going to be using one of those wooden pumpkin cutouts for this stand. Absolutely love the way the pattern laid on this wooden pumpkin as well, but I worked on making a slit so that the pumpkin would fit nicely inside of the spindle. So kind of making like a stand for it. So it's like a freestanding sign. So I did decide to also use some hot glue just to make sure it would definitely stay in place, but I'm sure it would have without that. So I also painted the bottom of this stand white, and then I just used hot glue to hold the spindle in place. And then I decided to take a few pieces of raffia, and of course, the second my cat hears raffia, he comes running. Well, they both do, but the kitten was the only one that actually got up on the table. This is Eddie. Eddie Spaghetti. So I doubled up a bunch of pieces of raffia, and I actually decided to leave the pieces of this raffia longer. I thought it looked, I don't know, it looked fun this way. And then next comes the most fun part, the distressing. Absolutely my favorite part of crafting, probably. I love how, you know, just the antique wax, especially the Waverly antique wax, I love it. It just really makes everything look vintage. So I did go over the pumpkin, as you can see here. So I should have done the distressing first, but I kind of changed my mind at the last minute and decided to distress it after I'd already put the raffia on the pumpkin, and that's why I have to lift it up. But I managed to still be able to do everything that I wanted to do, so it worked out fine. But, you know, when you're crafting, you just kind of change your mind a lot as the craft progresses. So you just have to do what feels right to you. And here's how it turned out. And I paired it with a nice little Dollar Tree faux leather pumpkin. And here is a close-up look of the pattern and the spindle. Before we head on to our next craft, this is just your midway reminder to please like this video, please subscribe, turn on the bell button for notifications so you never miss a new upload of mine, and make sure to go check me out on Instagram and follow me there. On to DIY number 4. So these are more Dollar Tree items. This was a set of tags. It kind of came out with a bunch of other like farmhouse stuff this year in their Crafter Square section of Dollar Tree. And these are actually like a chalkboard on the very front of them, but I'm just using the back so that I can easily paint them and I don't have to paint over a chalkboard. So once I have completely painted that, we are using another one of these napkins. These are so fun. Absolutely one of my favorite patterns from this, I don't know, season of napkins, I guess. So this one was absolutely really easy too. And I felt like I had the least amount of trouble with this craft in particular with being able to remove all of the bubbles and creases easily. For some reason, it just really, really worked out because there were some creases on either side from where, you know, the napkin folds, but for some reason I lucked out and I did not have any creases or bubbles on the edges like when I first laid this down. Then I used a pen cap lid just to kind of poke the hole through because the napkin was over the hole too. But yeah, like I said, this one turned out absolutely beautiful. So I love the pattern, so it worked out great. I kept looking for different pieces of scrapbook paper that I could use for the other tag, but none really seemed to fit with this pattern, so I just decided to take the smaller napkin that looked similar to this and thought it would pair together nicely, because these tags are going to be slightly stacked on top of each other to form a sign. So same step for all of them, just using a glue stick to hold them in place. And then once everything is sealed, then I just take my finger sander again and just cut off all the edges. And like I said, this is basically the closest shave, if you will, to this project by using this finger sander. So I use this a lot in my crafts. And if you would like to pick up one for yourself, I do have a link for this finger sander down below in the description box of this video. So I just took some hot glue to put them together and made sure that you could actually see the hole through both of them. And that is where I put the string back. And at the very last moment decided to add a tiny bow using some more Dollar Tree ribbon. Well, not more, but Dollar Tree ribbon. And I did actually get that from this season of fall items. I absolutely love this ribbon in particular. I guess it's new. I don't remember seeing it last year, but I love it. Wow, we're already on DIY number 5. So finally we are using a different, well, not set, but we are using a different pack of napkins. And what's great is that I'm going to have a ton of napkins left over for Thanksgiving this year after these crafts are done. So I felt like this was a great napkin for this pumpkin in particular, and it worked out great because just one half of this napkin had like 3 panels, and you're going to use all 3 of them for each section of this pumpkin in the very middle. So I'm just cutting each panel down to size. And it's just a lot easier to work that way for me. So definitely this was tough because this is curved, and also just trying to maneuver it to make sure it would completely fit over both edges of the right side of this pumpkin. So like I've done with all the other ones tonight, I am taking a glue stick, and that will hold it in place. But it takes definitely a bunch of maneuvering, and this one was definitely more prone to air bubbles and creases, I guess, because it was trying to, I guess, stay stuck to a curved edge. I'm not really sure, but once I finally got done smoothing it out and just kind of re-maneuvering it, then it did hold everything down nicely, and then I could go ahead with the next step. But it definitely took a bit of wiggling. And honestly, the X-Acto knife was the best tool for this. I tried using my finger sander on just the edge of the panel of each edge of each outer panel. I tried to use my finger sander on either of them to see if I could get, you know, a close edge, and it did not work, and it ended up ripping the very edges of the napkin. So I stopped doing that immediately and I went back to using my X-Acto knife, and then for the rest of them I used my X-Acto knife and only used that because I had learned my lesson. So definitely the finger sander was not the best tool for this craft. So I just kind of held the pieces kind of tightly. I held the pieces of the napkin tightly when I was using my X-Acto knife, and that really helped me get the best edging. So just kind of holding it tight, because if you didn't hold it tight, then it would just cut way too much. So I would have all this like excess on the edges. So by just kind of using your X-Acto knife in one hand and then pulling it tight with your other hand, just being careful and making sure that you're cutting away from you and not towards you, that is really what helped cut this the best. But I had to get my fingers a little bit close just to be able to pull this tight. And then I just went back and I did cut off any excess. Now comes the fun part. You guessed it, distressing. So my technique is I make sure to get not a lot of antique wax on my brush. I get the very, very smallest amount that I possibly can. And whenever I'm worried that I have too much on my brush, I grab a paper towel. Normally I draw an X 3 times, and after the 3rd time it has just the right amount that I'm looking for. But another way is to just kind of just swipe lines, that's fine. And then I kind of go back and I dab my brush and any excess on the paper towel. But that is my technique, and just kind of drawing an X 3 times, it really does help remove any excess wax from your brush, because it is so easy to get too much on your brush. As you can tell, I did get too much on my brush. In a couple of places where I forgot to draw lines, that is where I had too much wax. So that just kind of shows you right there that if you don't dab your brush and you just go ahead and take it directly to to the project, it comes out way darker than the rest of the places of the project where you didn't do that. So finally, we are topping off this craft with some raffia in front of 2 pieces of my favorite ribbon here from Dollar Tree. So this wraps up this video and wraps up this project. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you have a great rest of your weekend. Let's keep in touch on Instagram, and if you want to watch more videos, check them out here on the left.